times in life when one feels lost and without direction.
All right, deep divers, strap in. You ready for this? We're taking a deep dive into the synopsis for Karate Kid Legends, supposedly hitting theaters in 2025.
Color me intrigued. I always love a good martial arts story, and tying it to the Karate Kid legacy, that's smart.
Right, okay, so the synopsis kicks off by introducing us to Kai Nakamura, 17 years old. Just lost his dad, who, get this, was a martial artist. Sounds kind of familiar, right?
Yeah, classic Karate Kid setup. A young guy dealing with some tough stuff finds a mentor through martial arts. But this time, it sounds like there's an added layer of Kai trying to connect with his dad's memory through this journey.
Totally, like he's searching for something, trying to fill a void. Okay, and hold on to your hats because the mentor character is where things get really interesting. Toshiro Morita, a former student of Mr. Miyagi himself.
Whoa, okay, so we've got a direct link to the OG Karate Kid. I'm already picturing this wise, experienced sensei passing down the torch.
And get this, they describe Toshiro as enigmatic and aging, running a community center in a rough part of town, haunted by some mysterious past.
Ooh, sounds like they're adding a layer of complexity to the mentor character this time around. A little bit of Mr. Miyagi, but with some added baggage, maybe.
For sure. And the synopsis doesn't waste any time throwing Kai right into the mix. Their first encounter happens after Kai gets in trouble with some street fighters and ends up seeking refuge at Toshiro's community center.
Oh, so right off the bat, we're in the thick of things.
Mm-hmm.
And a community center in a tough neighborhood. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of conflict and tension simmering beneath the surface.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Toshiro is hesitant to teach Kai. At first, anyway.
Really? Why is that?
Well, there's this line in the synopsis where he says, martial arts is not about fighting. It's about defending, healing, and understanding oneself.
Wow, that's deep. It sounds like they're emphasizing the philosophical and internal aspects of martial arts this time.
Right. It's not just about kicking butt. It's about self-discovery and personal growth.
And maybe even healing for Toshiro himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly has some past trauma he's dealing with. I bet Kai's arrival might shake things up for him, too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's like a two-way street, both of them on a journey of transformation. But we can't forget about a good antagonist, right? Enter Ray, the Bull Garcia, leader of a street fighting crew.
Classic Karate Kid rivalry. You've got the disciplined student versus the raw, aggressive fighter.
Exactly. And it seems like their paths are on a collision course. The synopsis mentions an interstate martial arts tournament, and both Kai and Ray's crews are going to be there.
Ooh, talk about high stakes. I can already picture the training montages, the intense sparring matches, the final showdown. Classic.
And it's not just about winning a trophy, right? It's about proving yourself, overcoming your fears, and staying true to your values.
It's about finding your own definition of strength. And with Toshiro's guidance, Kai might just discover that true strength comes from within.
I like that. So we've got this small-scale rivalry playing out, but it feels like they're also hinting at something bigger, something about the way we deal with conflict in the world today. What do you think?
I think you're onto something. Ray's character, with his raw aggression and disregard for rules, could be a reflection of the violence and negativity we see in society. It's like they're asking, is this really the way we want to solve our problems?
That's a great point. And Kai, with his focus on discipline and self-control, offers a different path. A path that might not be as flashy or aggressive, but ultimately leads to a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
And maybe even inspires others along the way.
Exactly. Okay, so far we've got legacy, personal growth, internal conflict, and this clash of philosophies. And we haven't even gotten to the really juicy stuff yet. The synopsis also mentions that Toshiro's past is about to resurface, and it sounds like it's going to rock his world. They even call it a mysterious tragedy.
Ooh, this has me hooked.
Yeah.
What if this tragedy made him question everything he believed in? What if it made him abandon martial arts altogether?
Right, like maybe he sees Kai's struggles as a chance for redemption.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's afraid of repeating the mistakes of his past.
This just keeps getting better and better. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Me too. I'm already hooked. But we've got a lot more to unpack, so let's take a quick break and come back for more. Deep divers, stay tuned.
back, deep divers. I don't know about you, but my mind's still buzzing from that first part of the synopsis. Like, this whole story feels like it's building towards something big, you know?
Totally. There's so much simmering beneath the surface, all these internal conflicts, this clash of philosophies, and Toshiro's mysterious past looming in the background. It's like a powder keg waiting to explode.
Yeah, and I think that powder keg is going to ignite at the Interstate Martial Arts Tournament. I mean, that's where everything seems to be heading, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like the climax of the whole story where all these different threads come together. But I have a feeling this tournament is about more than just winning a trophy, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. This is where Kai will have to put everything he's learned into practice, both the physical skills and those deeper life lessons Toshiro's been trying to impart.
Right. It's like a test of character, a moment of truth where he has to decide who he really is. Will he give in to the pressure and fight like Rei, all anger and aggression? Or will he stay true to Toshiro's teachings and find a different way to win?
Exactly. And that's the dilemma at the heart of this whole story, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you stay true to yourself, to your values, when the world is pushing you to be someone else, someone harder, someone tougher?
And especially in today's world, where it feels like aggression and violence are constantly being glorified, it's a tough question to answer. It's easy to get swept up in that kind of mentality, like fight fire with fire, an eye for an eye, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like that's become the default mode for dealing with conflict, you know? But I think Karate Kid Legends is trying to show us that there's another way, a way that leads to real strength, real resilience.
And maybe even inspires others to find that strength within themselves.
Right, like a ripple effect, spreading outward from Kai's journey. But I keep thinking about that final showdown with Rei. It's got to be epic, right?
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine the choreography, the tension, the raw emotion? I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But it's more than just a fight, isn't it? It's like a battle of ideologies.
Exactly. On one side, you've got Rei, all brute force and aggression, representing that win-at-all-costs mentality. And on the other side, you've got Kai, striving to embody Toshiro's teachings of discipline, balance, and inner peace.
It's like they're two sides of the same coin, two different paths you can take in life. And it's up to Kai to choose which path he wants to follow.
And it's not an easy choice.
Yeah.
I mean, Rei's probably going to push him to his limits, test his resolve in ways he never imagined. It's going to be a true trial by fire.
Totally. And that's what makes the story so compelling, right? It's not just about the physical fight. It's about the internal struggle, the battle within. But, there's another layer to this whole thing that I keep coming back to. Toshiro's past.
Oh, yeah, that mysterious tragedy. I'm dying to know what happened there.
Me too. And I can't help but wonder if it's somehow connected to the present, to the violence and conflict that Kai is dealing with. What if Toshiro's past is a reflection of the very world Kai's trying to navigate?
Whoa, that's a really interesting thought. Like maybe Toshiro's journey is a cautionary tale, showing the consequences of giving in to anger and despair.
Right. And maybe by helping Kai overcome his challenges, Toshiro can finally find some peace and redemption for himself.
It's like they're both on this journey of healing, supporting each other, learning from each other. And that makes their relationship even more meaningful,
Totally. It's not just about a mentor passing down his knowledge. It's about two people connecting on a deeper level, helping each other through their struggles. But, we keep talking about the violence and the darkness, but there's also this undercurrent of hope running through the whole story.
Yeah, you're right. There's this sense that even in the darkest of places, even in the face of overwhelming adversity, there's still a chance for redemption, for transformation.
And maybe even for inspiration. Like maybe Kai's journey can show others that there's another way, a better way to live.
Exactly. And that's what makes this story so powerful, so timely. It's not just about a kid learning martial arts. It's about finding your own strength, your own way of being in the world, even when it feels like everything's pushing you in the opposite direction.
And maybe even inspiring others to do the same.
Right, because sometimes all it takes is one person to stand up, to show others that there's another way, a better way to be. And that's a legacy worth fighting for.
Welcome back, deep divers. Man, we've really gone deep on this Karate Kid Legends synopsis, haven't we?
We have. It's amazing how much there is to unpack in just a few paragraphs.
I know, right? It's like they've packed this thing with layers of meaning, and every time we peel back another one, we find something new to think about.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so exciting. It's not just a rehash of the old Karate Kid formula. It feels like they're really trying to say something new, something relevant to the world we live in today.
Okay, so before we wrap things up, I gotta know, what's been the biggest takeaway for you so far? What's really stuck with you?
That's a tough one. There's so much to choose from. But I think what keeps coming back to me is the idea of finding strength in unexpected places.
Oh, yeah. Like Kai finding strength in Toshiro's teachings, even though they seem so different from the world he's used to.
Exactly. It's like they're saying that true strength isn't about being the toughest or the most aggressive. It's about finding that inner resilience, that ability to face your fears and overcome challenges, even when it feels impossible.
And maybe even inspiring others to do the same. Like, what if Kai's journey becomes a beacon of hope for others in his community who are struggling with the same issues?
Right. It's like that ripple effect we keep talking about. One person's actions can have a profound impact on those around them. And that brings me to another thought that's been swirling in my mind.
Oh, what's that?
The setting. Remember how the synopsis mentions that the community center is in a neighborhood struggling with crime and violence? I keep wondering if they chose that setting for a specific reason.
Yeah, you're right. It's like they're deliberately placing these characters in a harsh environment where the stakes are even higher, the choices even more difficult.
Exactly. It's not just some idealized dojo in a peaceful setting. This is the real world, with real problems, real consequences. And it makes Kai's decision to pursue martial arts, to choose a path of discipline and self-control, even more meaningful.
Totally. It's like he's saying, even in the midst of all this chaos, I'm going to find my own way, a way that leads to something better, something more.
And that's a powerful message, don't you think? Especially for young people today who are growing up in a world that often feels overwhelming, even scary at times.
It's like they're saying, hey, you don't have to be a victim of your circumstances. You can choose a different path, even if it's not the easy one.
And you can find strength and support in unexpected places, like in the wisdom of an aging sensei who's been through his own share of trials and tribulation.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of Toshiro, I keep coming back to that mysterious tragedy in his past. What do you think it could be? And how will it impact his relationship with Kai?
I have no idea, but I have a feeling it's going to be a game changer. Like, maybe it'll force him to confront some deep-seated fears or regrets, or maybe it'll reveal a side of him that we haven't seen yet.
Ooh, the suspense is killing me. I can't wait to see how they handle this in the actual movie. But, regardless of what happened in his past, I think Toshiro's a great example of how even mentors can be flawed, can make mistakes.
Absolutely, and that makes them even more relatable, don't you think? It shows that growth and transformation are lifelong journeys, and that even the wisest among us still have things to learn.
And sometimes those lessons come from the most unexpected sources, like a troubled teenager who walks into your dojo seeking guidance.
Exactly. It's a reminder that everyone has something to offer, something to teach, something to learn. And that even in the midst of darkness, there's always the potential for light.
Wow, that's beautifully said. And it perfectly encapsulates the spirit of the Karate Kid franchise, wouldn't you say? It's not just about martial arts, it's about those universal themes of hope, resilience, and the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity.
It's about finding your own way, your own definition of strength, and using it to make a positive impact on the world.
Well said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
Deep divers, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Karate Kid legends. We've covered a lot of ground, explored some thought-provoking themes, and I don't know about you, but I'm even more excited to see this movie now.
Me too.
Until next time, keep training those minds, keep those hearts open, and keep believing in the power of the human spirit. We'll see you on the next deep dive.